I'm Tim, lead artist at Vector Unit. Designing a main character is important to get right. It has to have appeal, fit in with the art style and world it lives in, and it has to be designed around functionality and gameplay. I'm going to give you a look at some of the thought that went into the characters of MouseBot, Escape from CatLab. When the mouse was designed, thinking about how it reacted to the gameplay was particularly important. The visual design had to be concepted with the gameplay in mind. We had to think about what kind of movement we wanted it to have, and how that would function and look while you traveled around the maze avoiding traps and picking up cheese. A robotic mouse was the obvious choice. It could be friendly and cute, worked well within our studio's game engine, the Vector engine, and it was easy to imagine a ton of possibilities in both gameplay as well as visual design. We had a lot of different ideas about what kind of movements we wanted the mouse to have. Driving, turning, jumping, and sidestepping were your basic controls. We ended up cutting the sidestepping for the first release, which was on mobile, to simplify the controls. We added it back in for the console version. We'd always really liked it, and people have more fidelity with the controller, so we felt like it would be more accepted as a benefit as opposed to unintentionally hindering the player. We took a lot of inspiration from Inspector Gadget, having telescoping machinery pop in and out of its body that would transform it, and that gave us a lot of flexibility with what kind of environments and movement we could implement, and how you could avoid each specific trap. We also had a ton of ideas that were more specific. Some of those were flying, floating in the water, hover jumping, boosting, using weapons, and more. Of course, not all of those made the cut in such a small game, but that was the beauty of it. It was easy to cut or add in different movements. Death was a fun thing to experiment with too. We know we wanted you to feel the impact when your mouse had failed a maze. There was thought put behind what type of deaths each trap would have, and the visuals that went along with it. Many of these concepts didn't make the cut due to time. We loved the idea of being able to tell where you failed in the maze, so leaving behind some evidence or a corpse was included in that design. Of course, that means leaving behind something visual that wasn't considered too gory or brutal. We ended up using a pile of mouse parts, like screws and circuit boards. Bubbles with floating skulls appear in the acid. One thing we added for the console release was the mouse's point of view camera. This added a new way to play without being too time intensive to author. It's more of a novelty, but I think it's a lot of fun. The cats are ambient, non-playable characters that you don't interact with during gameplay, so they were a lot more simplistic. The main question we had with them was, just how intelligent were they really? Would they be more anthropomorphic half-human cats wearing full outfits, or regular cats with bow ties, or somewhere in between? They ended up being somewhere in between. We didn't want them to look too smart. The boss cat character is the most anthropomorphic one, since he's the one running the whole operation. We embraced the design of the cats. They're so simplistic and immensely silly that the animations and cutscenes almost feel like a puppet show. The animations are so simple and juvenile, but we figured that they worked well in the context. They were pretty quick to author, and most importantly, they made us laugh. I hope you enjoyed this quick look into how we designed our characters for MouseBot, Escape from CatLab.